So, can we talk about what happens when your money starts feeling stuck? You're working really hard, you're earning a good income, you're trying to be responsible, but it feels like nothing is actually moving forward. Bills get paid, maybe you save a little money, then something happens. Maybe a curveball hits you, maybe your car breaks down, or something happens on your home, and then all of a sudden you are back to zero again. And over time, it doesn't feel like a money problem anymore, it feels like a momentum problem. Because money isn't just about how much you make. It's about whether your money is actually moving in a direction or if it is just cycling in place. So today I want to break down how to create momentum with your money, even if you don't feel like you're in a perfect place yet. That's the number one mistake that most people make, because financial momentum isn't about being rich. It's about learning how to stay in motion and learning how to continue to grow. All right, so let's dive in and let's talk about how to make your money work for you. So first of all, let's define money momentum. So most people think I need more money to get ahead. But momentum says I need better movement with what I already have. So that's mistake number one, is people think I don't have any money to save at all. I don't have any money to invest. I am barely making ends meet. But what we know about money is you will learn to live on whatever you have. It is that simple. And I know most people don't truly believe that. And so it is learning to figure out what your budget is, right? And then seeing within that budget, okay, what can I cut? Or how can I make my budget a little bit better? And then you determine, I'm putting this much aside. I'm going to, from my pay, I'm automatically have transferred into my savings X amount every single month. And then your goal is to try not to touch that, because then over time that'll start to grow without you even realizing it. And then from that, as you start to get up a little bit saved, then you can say, okay, every month I'm going to invest. You can put it into a different account as you start to get those things taken care of. But if you just are always trying to pay off your bills and then you're going to get another one, you want to have a goal of paying your bills, obviously. But if you just always think, I got to wait till I can make way more money to save money, then you're going to miss out. In 10 years down the road, you are going to still be sitting, even if you're making more money, you are going to be sitting in the exact same place that you were 10 years before. And that is just the truth of it. All right. Examples of momentum is paying down debt consistently, even if it's small amounts. So this is where people, if they're not paying down their debt, like paying minimum amounts due is just basically paying off the interest. And if you are just constantly paying minimum amount due, then you're never going to get ahead. That same debt is always going to be there. So you have to make a plan to pay down the debt. Now, we've talked about this before, like a couple of months ago or back in February, we talked about it. And you got a couple of options in paying down debt. You can choose to focus on one and get that one taken care of. It should be probably the one with the highest interest rate. And then I'll work on the next one and work on the next one. Or you can pay a little bit toward each one. I have always had my maybe a little more than minimum due, so a little bit is going toward that on all of them except for one. I like that because I really am a focused individual, and I like to work on something and I like to see progress because that feels like a reward for me, and then get that one paid off, and then I can move on to the next one. That's one way to do it, is the highest interest rate. Another way to do it, because this makes people's mindset, it makes them feel good, is to, instead of starting with the biggest, which just feels like overwhelming, is start with the smallest one. Get that paid off. And then you start, okay, that one's done. I don't have any more. I don't owe anything on that. If it's a credit card and you've got too many credit cards, then just rip it up. Or you know what? You can always put it away, put it in a drawer. I mean, I've done these things in the past. Is put it in a drawer so that you're not even tempted to use it. And then if you really need it for an emergency happens, then you have access to that. But the best thing to do is if you've got multiple credit cards, the minute that you actually do get some of these paid off, get yourself to where you just have one. Possibly two if you have one for your personal and one for your business. Like, don't have multiple ways to allow yourself to get into debt. That's one of the problems of why people never create any momentum, is it's too easy. The access is there. And then you start to think, that you need something or you need to purchase something when you really don't. So that is definitely going to be an issue. So you could start with the highest interest rate one or the biggest one, or you can start with the lowest amount and get rid of that one and then start working on the next one. Either one of those approaches is fine. It kind of depends on how you are in your mindset, how diligent you are, how good you are about creating any of this momentum. All right, stop the reset cycle. Most people keep restarting financially. So they start over with a new budget every month because they didn't maintain that one, or they had something that happened, so they're starting all over. They create a new savings plan every single month. I'm going to do better. I'm going to quit buying this, but then they buy something else, and then they end up in the same cycle. They're always restarting, and this kills any momentum that you have. If you will say, first and foremost, I'm putting this much into my savings, no matter what, then you will live on what you have and you will pay your bills on what you have. I don't even care if it's just $20. Like some people say, I don't even have $20. You do. You do if you just do it, because you will manage. And if you continue to live your life on that budget that you've created, pretty soon you're going to have a nice little nest egg and you can relax a little bit. But again, then you buy the things that you really need, because if you go and do impulse buying where you're like, I can pay for that. No, it's like, if you can't pay for all of it, do you really need it right now? The things that you might go into debt over are emergencies, like you suddenly need a new roof on your house or whatever the case may be. But you want to try to, and some things like that will let you do like X amount of years at no interest. And then, it goes to a higher interest rate. So then you got to work out those payments on that and be diligent to that, to where if it's a 3-year or 5-year window of time, then that is paid off. We recently made a bigger purchase, and it was, you could buy it with no interest, and you had 7 years to get no interest. And then it went up to this like crazy 32% interest. And so instead of paying just whatever this minimum was, I took it, divided it in the 7 years, exactly what the payment was. And that's the payment that we made. I made that payment or more every single month. And so I never owed more than what it was. I managed that 0% interest. So that's an important thing to do. A lot of people will put all their money on another credit card, get 0%. They've got it for X amount of time, and usually they'll charge you a lot more interest. If you don't make those payments, if you don't take that serious to where I've got a year with no interest, how much do I need to pay every single month to get that paid off? Then that's not a wise thing to do, because in 9 times out of 10, you're going to be paying more interest, and then you end up using more credit somewhere else, and then you've got even more debt. This is how momentum debt gets created. So you can create momentum with your finances on the saving amount or the debt amount. And that's how it happens. Trust me. When COVID happened, I really thought everything was going to come back, and I got in much more debt financially than I needed to, because I kept thinking, well, if it comes back next year, we'll make as much money as we were before and I can pay that entire thing off. Where I should have started saying, what if it doesn't come back? What can I pay? What am I able to do? And I didn't. I was basing it on what has the last 25 years looked like. But things never, ever came back to exactly where they were before COVID in my business. They did not. So now that's a difficult thing. And that debt has created momentum. I can tell you that for sure. In these 5 years that we post-COVID, that is what has happened. So you are best not to ever get into that cycle to begin with. All right. So remember, automate small wins. So the more that you can automate so that you don't have to think about it, like payments or into savings, the more, again, you will live on what you have. You will, as far as even when you have, this is how much money I have for groceries, you will learn to make meals that are more affordable, and you will not go out to eat. And you will, if that's what you have for a budget of groceries or meals for the month, then you will suddenly do better. I know for me, that was one area. It was like, where can I cut to start getting this thing, taken care of? Well, we ate out a lot, like a lot. And so that was just an easy thing to cut, was to say, okay, we're not going to go out to eat as much, and we're going to make dinners. And actually, they're more healthy. It's actually helped me. It's been a win-win, because it's helped to save a huge amount of money, but it has helped me to lose more weight, because you're eating healthier and you know what you're eating, versus when you are in restaurants, you don't know what things are cooked in. You don't know how many real calories are there. It looks like it might be healthy unless they have the calories on the menu. You have no clue. So this is just one tiny example. So again, with your financial momentum, which direction is it creating? Momentum isn't always just positive. Momentum can be negative momentum. And so with your finances, you're creating momentum of building wealth, or you are creating momentum and building debt. That is an important thing for you to understand and realize, because you want to build wealth, not debt. And if you aren't building any wealth at all, you are one, catastrophe or one situation away from being in debt again. Like, if you're not building any wealth. So think about that. If I'm just going along month to month, all it takes is one thing to happen. Your car to get totaled, and then you don't even have a car at all, and now you have to go get a car, and how are you going to get that? And then that ends up becoming a situation. If something happens with your home, all kinds of things can go wrong. Your furnace can go out. Your hot water heater can go out. Your roof can suddenly start leaking and having huge problems. Like, there's all kinds of big things that can occur. And if you have not built any wealth at all, then it's going to be difficult to manage those things. And those things happen. You can't go through life thinking nothing's going to happen. This is another mentality that messes people up. They think about this like, and when something does go wrong, they're like, why does this happen to me? My business was going good and nothing ever seems to work out. That's not true. Every single person is going to have curveballs of life. You're going to have things that happen. You're going to have things that don't go quite right. That's just the way that life is. The sooner that you learn to embrace that and not look at it as something's happening to you or because of you, but just rather, this is life and I need to be prepared for life. If you took on that mentality instead of, I don't expect anything's ever going to happen, and then bam, it does, and then you feel like, oh, this is happening to me, why? And then it's hard to get out of when you have that attitude. It's very difficult to stay positive and to stay excited. So Remember, the first thing that you have to decide about momentum and your money is, are you creating momentum of debt or are you creating momentum of wealth? That is number one. And number two, if you want to create momentum for wealth, then you don't have to wait to do it. You can start small. We talked on Monday about what is momentum. It's that little snowball. It's that little snowball that then becomes what? Like an avalanche, right? But it has to start small. And sometimes it's all falling apart and it doesn't feel like you can't get that stickiness to it. But then all of a sudden it starts to roll. And the next thing you know, you're gaining interest and it's growing and it's pretty exciting. You know, creating wealth can be super exciting. And if it's debt that you need to crawl out of, then you need a plan for getting out of it and not staying in it. And that is what people do. That's why their lives never seem to get ahead, because they're one thing away from life's going to throw them a curveball and it's going to throw them all the way back to below ground zero. And that is not what you want. So I hope that this was helpful for you in creating some momentum around your finances. And what do we want? Momentum building wealth, not momentum building debt. Hope this was helpful for you. I hope you like and subscribe. And if you think that this was helpful, please remember to share with someone you care about. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm Belinda Ellsworth, and we will see you again on Friday.